I realize now that I have been neglecting you guys, and that I haven't been sitting you all around the campfire nearly enough to tell you enough cautionary tales about my life. And seeing how my life is a beautiful love child between Rocky Horror Picture Show and A Handmaid's Tale, I feel like I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't tell you the perilous woes of the modern day life. And funnily enough, this is a story I've actually told before, but I want to tell it again because I got reminded of it the other day. So, when I was in high school, I wasn't very competent with electronics, and that might seem surprising to those who have watched me long enough to realize that I'm very competent with the computer that I have now, with the electronics that I'm surrounded with. But the reason this is because in 5th grade I had an accident where I opened up an Inspect Element taskbar, and my teacher complained saying I was screwing around and banned me from using laptops for the rest of the year. From that day forward, I actually tried to learn electronics and computers in general out of pure spite. And look at where I am at now. And where does that leave you, Mrs. Hunter, my 5th grade math and history teacher? Oh yeah, 6 feet under with a moss-covered tombstone and nobody to visit or leave you flowers. Take that, you grandma from dinosaurs-looking motherfucker, I'll see you in hell. But anyway, I guess you could say back then I was still pretty green in the gills when it came to exploring the internet or using the internet as a whole. Back then, the most complicated thing I did was set up a Gmail account, and who boy, you should have seen the hassle that was. You would have had an easier time putting shoes on a jellyfish than me setting up that email account. But I eventually did it, and fun fact, the reason I started that original email, this one right here, is so that I could create a YouTube account and later a Twitter account that would be banned for nefarious purposes. But who boy, the story of me having a Twitter account that had 10,000 followers. It's a good story, but it's a story for another time. Now, this is going to take me swallowing my pride, but when I was a kid in high school, the main content I watched was either Markiplier, deep web stuff, or 3am challenges. And the reason I watched those second options, I still watch Mark to this day, Papa Preach, he's the reason I got into all this, but the reason I watched those other two is because I found them very fascinating. And there was always a part of me, that childlike wonder, that wanted there to be more to reality than what it seemed. And I wanted so badly for all these things to be real. Let that show you the naivety of me as a kid and how stupid and gullible I was. I realize nowadays that if I wear a diaper jerking off into a mirror screaming, "Pommy is my mother," it's not going to summon the cast of the Amazing Digital Circus. I know that now. From both knowledge and experience, I know that now. Don't ask me about the experience. It was a wild night in Cancun. So the reason I tell you all this is because you can only imagine my horror when I figured out what the spam folder was. And the reason I figured out what the spam folder was because me and a friend were doing something. I want to say it was like some sort of email invite to something. And he said that it would end up in my spam folder if it wasn't showing up in my main emails. My main emails at that time were very limited. It was either Twitter updates or YouTube notification emails. And he told me to go check my spam. And when I got into my spam, boy howdy, was I disgusted with what I saw. Keep in mind, this email is a virgin email. At this point of him asking me to check that spam account, this is like day 2 of it being there. Okay, this bad boy hasn't even been christened, and this motherfucker is already being hit with the nasty stuff. It's like going straight from the crib to the stripper pole. That's what happened to my email. And all I saw was just cannabis, 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 cannabis. Would you like a conceal and carry order? Cannabis, cannabis, cannabis. Raoul's 15 ways to get around a restraining order. And of course, good old-fashioned Russian mail-order brides, because you could never go wrong with ordering Olga from St. Petersburg. After that, though, I became entranced with how marvelous the spam folder was. There was just something very intriguing about it. It just showed how scummy the internet could be, and that's what kept drawing me to it. I made it a daily ritual that every time I had free time in school, I would be checking my spam just to see what new crap people had sent me. So many cannabis orders, mail order brides, iPhones I never collected because I knew I'd get shanked in the kidney in the back of a Taco Bell. So many things people tried just to get personal information and scam me. Now, it's not like they'd get anything. I was broke at the time. I was a kid in high school. I didn't even have my first job yet. But the reason I tell you all this is because I want you to realize how excited I got over internet scams and why this scam means so much to me. You may find it stupid. You may find it dumb. You may find it idiotic that anybody would fall for this in the first place. But to me, this scam I'm about to tell you is the gold standard. This is the Everest and the Mariana Trench of scams. This is the Alpha and the Omega, the Exodus and the Genesis of every scam I judged from that day forward. This scam would come to me during free time I would have at the end of physics class one day. My teacher had wrapped up early and decided that we would have 2 to 3 minutes just to talk with friends or do whatever. I'm pretty sure after that I would go on to study hall or someplace just to watch old Soviet Womble videos. So I decided with those 2 to 3 minutes, that would be my time for my daily routine of going through the spam folder. The spam folder had its usual suspects that I've mentioned countless times throughout the videos, but one did catch my attention, one that I really wish I had archived because of how ludicrous and ominous it was. It was like a premonition, something like a calm before a storm. It was just titled Warning. Proper capitalization, no excessive punctuation, no unnecessary emojis, no free iPhone attached to it. It was almost too good to be true, and it was just so casual, and that's what made me want to click on it in the first place, and I decided that would be the final one for today. It was like a match made in heaven, and let me tell you, what followed was a wall of text that was so poorly translated or so broken English, you would have thought we were transcribing the Dead Sea Scrolls. I almost had a stroke reading it. But this hodgepodge of broken Bible text was brought to you by one person, Chad Wolf. And if you don't know who Chad Wolf is, who boy are you in for a surprise when we do the Scooby-Doo face reveal. But the email would open with Chad talking about how long he's been wanting to talk to me, and how kind I was for taking time out of my day to reply to him. But as soon as that man dropped the first period, so did his mask. From that point forward, he just became a legit psychopath, and I felt a bit scared. The unhinged ramblings this man went on are something of biblical proportions, as though he's some sort of prophet or messiah that nobody believes. Chad then went on to tell me that he was a government agent that had been working on my case for quite some years, and that through multiple connections through multiple government agencies, he was finally able to track down this quote-unquote high-value target that had been on his radar for years. He then began listing every crime I have committed, stating in his own words that I was a domestic terrorist with links to ISIS, and that, on top of all this, I was an illegal immigrant with a warrant out for my arrest. And it was his warrant that he was very prominent on constantly bringing up. First off, I'm as white as they come. You open up a Home Depot catalog and there I am in the paint section under eggshell white. You throw me out in the snow in the middle of winter and I just look like some sort of malnourished snowman. Second off, why would you tell me you have a warrant for my arrest through email? That gives me, I don't know, a chance to flee the country if this was all true? I'm a high schooler at the end of the day. It's not that hard to track me down and give me the papers in person. I'm either falling asleep in study hall or touching myself to anime at home. And I really don't have anything to refute the ISIS comment. It was a different time back in 2016, where rebelling against your parents wasn't about drinking or doing drugs or playing butthole roulette with a lot of shady people. It was about casually joining your local terrorist splinter cell group and casually overthrowing a government. But if you've ever dealt with scammers in your life, you know there's only one direction for Chad to go from here, which is complete and utter self-destruction, absolute scorched earth tactics. After this, he began listing a bunch of names that were clearly made up, but in his own mind sounded Middle Eastern enough to try and scare me into believing that he had kidnapped correspondents of mine that were part of my terrorist cell here in Ohio. And these were names like Jamar Kalakimi, Zamar Ziganga, and things like that. They were very clearly made up, and maybe in Chad's own sick, sad little head, these are what Middle Eastern names sound like. But my God, was this just grasping at straws. These were names that went on for miles. There was some that I'm pretty sure had @ signs and $signs in them. Where did these come from? I'm sorry, when did they start naming people in the Middle East like they're naming them in the goddamn hood for a rap name? I really wish at that point I was in the same room with the scammer just to see how proud of themselves they were with this email. Because I feel that once they dropped that list of names, they had thought they had written something on par with Shakespeare, but with more grammatical errors than any Harry Potter fanfiction. Like, my god, this thing had more errors in it than Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Abstinence. And I almost felt bad for them because I felt like the education system failed them more than their own parents did at that point. But as you can see, Troy is no more. The salt has been earthed and there's no way anybody else could believe this. But why not end it with a beautiful clincher? And this clincher was in all caps. It was a simple warning that was in a lot of broken English saying that they are incoming and they will find me and they take from family and they will make me pay. I don't know what that means. Some say scientists to this day are still trying to figure it out. But that still leaves a question. Who is Chad Wolf? Well, I'm so glad you guys held on to that for so long. Chad Wolf, during 2016, was the Secretary of HLS, which is Homeland Security. You're meaning to tell me this entire time a high-ranking government official that is the secretary to our homeland's goddamn security is out here harassing and shaking down a 16-year-old high schooler for credit card information and SSN. I'm pretty sure that man's salary is more than I will make in a lifetime. I'm pretty sure that man is somewhere in Cabo having a beautiful, beautiful summer vacation right now. I don't think he's still there anymore. I checked out his Google page and it says that he is the former Secretary of Homeland Security, but it is what it is. I still find it hilarious that this was my peak to scamming, that somebody was trying to be the Secretary to Homeland Security and shake down an innocent 16-year-old for possibly what could have been $100 in Amazon gift cards. Even then, what are you going to do with my SSN? Commit identity fraud? I have no identity to begin with. Honestly, it would be more of a burden for you to be me than it is for me to be me. But if there's a lesson to take away from all this, it's that scamming has gotten lazy over the years. And I really hate that it has, because it's all just redeem the gift card, and screw with the scammers that way. Back then, scamming used to be an art. There used to be a science to it. But it just seems like nowadays scams are very boring. I'm not saying that it's okay to scam people, but if you're gonna do it, at least have some style to it. I think the best scam I saw in recent times was somebody pretending to be Bill Gates after Bill Gates had gotten divorced to try and get in on some of that sweet alimony money. And people actually gave Bill Gates their credit cards so that he could quote-unquote fly them out. God, scamming truly is, it's a deplorable thing, but it's gonna happen no matter regardless. And all I ask is that if people are gonna do it, at least do it right, put some effort into it. Enough with the Google plays, act like Chad Wolf over here, or whoever that was trying to scam me. Have some character, make a niche for yourself. If you're gonna be a bad guy, then be a good bad guy. God damn. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I will see you all next time.